welcome back to just another episode of Just My Opinion. I just want to start by showing you this here. Okay, and now that you can read that. Okay, you can read that now. Okay, so I'm going to go continue now. So, I will be reviewing the movie Another Simple Favor. It's a sequel to that Anna Kendrick, Blake Lively movie from, I don't even know what year it was in. And the thing is that this movie is better. I will give it that. This movie is better than it was than the previous one. This is one of those, the sequels is better, but not by much though. But then it still goes back into the we want to be serious tone, which again does not help this movie particularly much, because it ends up basically just making it, it basically just makes it too serious, where now it's like, it wants to be Knives Out, it wants to be all these other movies. So basically the plot is Anna Kendrick's character gets invited to the wedding of Blake Lively's character, who tried to kill her in the last movie. And basically, and Anna Kendrick wrote a book about it. She used to have a podcast, a murder mystery podcast about the thing, and she would solve murder mysteries and stuff. Again, I want to see that TV show where she's like the murder mystery podcaster, and she's like, why can't we get that instead of like 3 more seasons of that only murders in the building with Steve Martin, Martin Short, and Selena Gomez? It's not, I don't like it that much. It goes on way too long, and maybe that Anna Kendrick murder mystery thing would be better. There's this whole thing where she has like this past case of like a gym teacher that like was found with like suggestive material about his students, and it's not it doesn't matter. All it is just to boost Kendrick's ego. It's only there to be like, I don't think I'm the greatest. I'm the greatest after all. Here's the thing I can say about this movie completely, okay? I think that this movie understands its characters more than the last one. And what I mean with that is that I think that I think they allow, because like here's the thing. Here's the thing. Anna Kendrick is allowed to actually be funny in this one. Like, I really like when she's like being sarcastic with Blake and and stuff, and it's like, she's just being sarcastic with the cast from the last movie and stuff. It's very, that's the fun stuff right there. And even I gotta say, first movie, some people would have been like, you can't see Blake Lively as this monstrous, murderer type person, and then some news stories came out, and then people are like, well. It's almost like, even though this was filmed before that, it's almost like the movie knows that happened, or that was going to happen, because that whole Blake Lively scandal basically makes this movie better. You know how like some people said that like The Flash was made worse because of Ezra Miller's scandal? Well, this is made better by it, because last one, you didn't know if you really believed her as like the cold-hearted, like psycho. This one, you do, because you saw the real life news stories about it, about her being that way. So it's kind of like, it really helps. And even Anna Kendrick in real life being the same kind of way in this, it's like when it's trying to be like, yeah, wink, wink, we know what Blake did, okay? We know that whole scandal around her and Justin Baldoni and the ever-growing scandal. I haven't been keeping up with it, so if you guys have, if you want to put it in the comments, okay, I'll read it, but I haven't been keeping up with what the scandal is. I just know that what I know about it makes her character in this a lot more fun. And there's even an end. The climax of this film is written in a way like they not only knew that would happen, but that they knew the exact date in which that would happen, that scandal would hit. Because basically it just showed, there's something they do at the ending here that if you told me Blake produced only this scene and directed only this scene, I would say yes, she did, because there's something they do that later, but I will get to that. So for some character introduction, here's Andrew Rannells. He plays Andrew Rannells. If you've seen, I'm sure I'm not saying that right. Um, Maybe I am. I hope I am. He plays the same character in everything. He plays the same hyperactive guy in everything he does. That's like, you know, he's fun in some things. Like I don't hate him in that Black Monday show. I think the show isn't that well directed. I've seen him some things that I really do like him in. I think he does have a style that could work. Just the problem is you have to actually give him something here. He shows up for like probably like a couple pieces of the movie here and there, and then just kind of disappears, and then returns in the end just to remind you, oh, he's a thing. He's one of those you know when like movies have unnecessary sequels and the writers don't know what the hook of the movie was. They don't know if it was Kendrick or Blake, and they don't know if it's the husband, they don't know if it's the cop. They just kind of just bring back characters just to be like, we don't know which one it was he really liked, so we're going to bring back anybody we can from the first one to kind of just show, see, you liked them, didn't you? Too bad you have to actually give them something to do. And again, you could have written him out and missed nothing. You really could have. You could have written him out, just had one of her girlfriends be in that spot, and it wouldn't have mattered. It really wouldn't have mattered. And then we have Blake's husband in this. It doesn't really matter because she's not actually... okay, I'm going to spoil this for you. He's not actually her husband. It's more of a thing that he's... I don't want to say it because I want to be monetized, but he has a very close personal friend that's the leader of a rival mafia gang. And because he doesn't want his mom to know about the rival gang's leader's relationship with her son, he decides to marry Blake. Okay, that's basically his whole thing. He dies. He gets killed, and it's blamed on Blake. And again, I'll get to what happens with her in a second, but then, you know, because I want to like kind of build this up too. And then we have her mom. She was played by Jean Smart in the first movie. They decided to switch it up for this character. They decided to make her very like ditzy and kind of like almost senile at times, and it's like maybe the story is that she is senile. I don't know, but I feel like it doesn't really work because the first one, at least, it was she kind of cut her off from her daughter after she killed the other daughter from the first movie, so it kind of makes it so it's like, you know, like it was like, oh, okay, so she just cut her off because she wasn't that great of a mom. Okay. This one, they kind of portray it like it was more that she was, and this is probably a Blake add-in, that like the idea that like, I don't know, maybe the idea that like somebody, like the older woman wouldn't be the best mom or something is like, without being like not all there mentally, is like weird to Blake. So she's like, I need that to be changed. I don't know. But they decided to switch it with Elizabeth Perkins here, and for what she's given, where she basically is just senile old woman yelling, and then she just kind of dies because Allison Janney decides. Allison Janney's the killer, by the way. Just gonna say it. She's the killer. She kills the husband, you know, the fake husband of Blake's, because here's the thing. She wanted to blame it on Blake, but somehow it would make sense to say blame it on Blake, but no, she wanted to blame it on Anna Kendrick's character, that she had no idea was even coming to this wedding until the last minute. So good thing. It's one of those things. This is one of those movies that definitely has like two different styles. It's basically it's basically just a checklist where it's like, here's the cliff that someone's gonna fall off of. Here's the toy drone that's gonna hit somebody in the head. Here's this that's gonna do this. I thought the drone was gonna capture somebody on camera doing something, and that was what was gonna happen. But no, Blake's son has a toy drone that is flying around that you can clearly tell is supposed to be part of the plot. And all he does is just fly it into Allison Janney, and it hits her, and then Allison Janney dies by being pushed off a cliff. Because she was, I think she's like a drug dealer or something. They're not really that clear with what her business is. She has like a business that's criminal, and therefore she just has to kill. Okay, I guess I'll go to what I was saying about Blake earlier with that very egotistical thing I was saying earlier. Okay, so they do the twin thing again. They do the thing again, just like in the last movie, where it's not that one, it's the evil twin sister. The evil twin sister killed the other one and took her life, and now it's the evil triplet sister is now the killer of people with Allison Janney because she raised her as a baby. And yeah, they're doing the Knives Out 2 thing just in if she was the villain in the end. She basically, the Blake's sister basically just is a representation, I guess, of what Blake thought she was to the audience versus what she really is to her, I guess. That this one's very immature and mentally unwell and thinks that she can be with Blake forever and never have actually let go of her. Allison Janney just wants to kill her. I don't know how that ever didn't come up in their plan. They treat it like it didn't come up in the plan at all, but then later they're like, oh, but wait, it did. So it's like, oh, okay, so that's the thing. And there's a later scene where Blake's twin sister basically takes the fall for Blake, so that way Blake can live free. And they basically have a scene where Blake is declaring her love to this sister, and it's since they have Blake play both roles, you do feel the narcissism very quick, where she's talking about how much she loves herself and how much she loves her. Again, if you had casted somebody else as her, because Blake Lively isn't that hard to find a girl who kind of looks like her. It really isn't. Hollywood probably has 15 different types like her, so that look just like her. So you probably weren't hard to find a model or something that looked like her enough to play this role. But when you have her play the same role, you do feel the narcissism of Blake very quickly. You feel her narcissism come up very, very quickly, where it's basically, yeah, of course you love that character. You are that character, get it? She loves her because she is her. I don't know, it's just and she declares how much in love she is with herself, and how, and how perfect she is, and how, I swear this little character was written only just to say by Blake, only just to say how perfect she is. It's I'm not hearing it from online anymore, so I need to write an entire character in this show, in this movie, to basically just make it so I'm the beloved one. I'm the beloved one. Okay, so then we get to Allison Janney, who basically kills Elizabeth Perkins to hide the fact that Elizabeth Perkins, through Anna Kendrick, found out who killed the husband. Okay. Kind of feels like Elizabeth Perkins didn't even have to be pulled in here, and we could have just... That kind of is a lot. It kind of feels like we could have only... we didn't have to write a character for the husband. We could have just had the husband die, and it would have been enough. We could have just, not written Elizabeth Perkins' character in. Because we all know she's not the killer. So it's not she's the killer. She's the killer. They only do it for the red herring thing of, that could be the killer. but you know it won't be. So again, I was surprised it was Allison Janney because I really thought it was going to be the mob boss. Who, by the way, the mob boss does not like Blake because she thinks her son was taken by her. Okay? Now, here's the thing. They decide after the son dies and she finds out that she was hiding the personal friendship between, between the son and the other mob boss. Then therefore, it just magically makes all hatred go away to the point where she's even going to let her be part of the mafia in that town herself. I am dead serious. That is what's happening. That's what happens in this. So I thought it would have made more sense to have it be the mob boss that's the one doing it, because she doesn't like Blake, so it would have made sense to frame her. But no, we had to have the aunt that you didn't even know existed until that moment, and is only written as a comic relief just to be like, haha, I'm the villain in the end. I have a shady business. I can't tell you what it is because Hollywood doesn't really want to cast disparagement on a certain business or another, so she's the villain. And she dies. The end. She dies after killing multiple people. And see, I lowered her on purpose just to show that, like, she even, like, just drops, like, because that's the thing, is that she just dies, and that's her whole character thing. Then we have this character. I will raise him up to prove, that he should have been in more of this. Because he should have been, it would have been more fun to kind of have the banter going on between him, Blake, and Kendrick. He dies. He dies because he was trying to take Blake's kid away from her, so therefore he has to die. He kind of gets overshadowed by the death of the mob boss's son. Like, it's kind of treated like, okay. They kill both, I guess, because... They kill one because of, like, I guess Allison Janney wants to be part of that mob boss thing, I guess. And so she kills the mob boss son, so they'll kill each other, I guess, and blame Anna Kendrick's character. I don't know why they wouldn't just blame Blake for that, but alright. I guess she was hoping that the triplet she had was gonna take over for her, I guess. Which, again, doesn't really feel like it matters that much, because it feels, again, I don't know, you could have just made the mob boss mom be the killer, and a lot of this could have been skipped. A lot of this could have been skipped. She doesn't have to kill her own son, I mean, but, like, but again, this husband here that I'm showing is only here to be another red herring of who you think he's going to be him. It's not, because he gets killed within the first couple minutes. So he's supposed to be the main death. He's not. He kind of, like, he gets forgotten about so quickly. You wonder why he was even put in the movie. And then you remember, because the writers, knowing they're probably going to make a third one out of this, it is, especially with how it ends with the mob boss essentially deciding that Blake is now part of the mob now. So there's probably going to be something with that in the third one. So I guess they didn't know what to do with the husband, so he's just dead. The cop guy returns. That's his character. He returns. He was in the first one. He makes a couple cameos, and that's it. And Blake gets out of prison because of his whole part is to basically try to tell Anna Kendrick that Blake got out of prison. I just want to say that I'm surprised that the lady who wrote a book about how glad I am that Blake is in prison and became a cultural phenomenon because of it. I am so surprised that somehow she did not hear in any social media at all that Blake had been released. It took the cop guy, and he didn't even tell her. She walks in. And again, maybe Hollywood, maybe you shouldn't have made the walk-in scene be the first scene you see in the trailer. Maybe that could have been a thing. Maybe trailers don't have to be the whole movie anymore. Maybe that can be a thing. So then we get to this character, played, I don't even remember her name and the actress's name, or because she didn't leave an impression at all. She's basically the comic relief Fed, who's only here to try to build. See, here's the thing: there's a lot of characters in this that are only here to build intrigue, and then once the writers don't know what to do with them, like say the ex-husband, they just die. They just die because the writers don't know what to do with them, so they're just going to be dead, and then they're going to just be on the pile up of bodies. I love how they kind of forget about her too as soon as she dies. It's not really like mentioned. It's more that you killed the mob boss's son. Who cares that you killed the Fed, the ex, the mom, you know? Apparently. Okay, so then Paul Feig makes a cameo because he's the director. Jake Tapper makes an appearance because apparently the story that Blake and Anna led with is basically that Anna solved this case. Okay. That apparently she solved this case. Even though she doesn't have a podcast anymore, she makes that clear. She makes that stipulation very clear that she does not have a podcast anymore, so therefore she didn't record most of that. The only part she records is when she's under house arrest in her hotel room because they think she killed somebody, when there's like 15 other people in the area that could have killed her. I'm not kidding. Like 15 it feels like. You know, so it's like, so I don't know why Tapper's interviewing her, because I don't know why, because this isn't national news. It happened internationally, first off, so I don't know why our news in America would be so caring about that. But two, it wasn't even an event that press was allowed at. They make it a personal thing that they can't take. Oh, and that's another thing too. They try to say that there's all these famous celebrity A-listers there, but because they want to be able to say it and never talk about it again, they kind of just say, well, we can't take pictures of them or talk about them again, because they don't want to. Because they don't want to have to hire. That's where Tapper should have been. Instead of being on CNN, he should have been like one of the guys on the plane, you know, that were part of the A-listers. That would have made more sense. And that's where Paul Feig should have been, instead of being the lawyer that just has to keep leading the dumb third Blake into the thing. He's babysitter now, which I'm a little confused because you know, she takes the blame. Why does she need all the lawyers she had from the last one? Why does she need that? Why can't she just have... I know Paul Feig wanted the cameo, but why can't it just be that she just goes to jail and that's the story? Why do we need to even see the courtroom thing? Because why do we even to see her walk into the courtroom? Just have Tapper say she went to jail at the end. You don't have to show her walking in the court. And I guess it was supposed to be funny that Paul Feig keeps trying to lead her in, and she keeps turning around to get the press attention. Which, again, that's a Blake moment, definitely. I don't care what's happening inside the courtroom. I want the attention of the press outside. Okay, that's definitely a Blake moment. Definitely a Blake moment. So Tapper's here just to interview Kendrick on her new book and how incredible her podcast is that only appeared for a couple minutes of this and didn't even we didn't see her dive deeply into it, because the movie kind of treats her like she's the audience surrogate, but the problem is that she's not still doing the murder podcast thing that would have connected her to it. She just she only picks it up at one point to cry about how she's under house arrest in her hotel room, and then she puts the phone back away and she's done. So it's like, okay, you know, yeah, oh yeah, you're such a big phenomenon. We just said that your book wasn't selling that well because even though it was a cultural phenomenon, they try to treat it like, they also say that it's not selling well. So which is it? Which is it, Hollywood? Which is it? So yeah, so Tapper's in this just to be interviewing her and to give the audience again, we already knew that Blake's sister was taking the blame for her and that she was going to jail. You could have cut that whole scene out and missed nothing. So that's kind of the thing, is that it's like, so in my opinion, like I said before, Anna Kendrick is the best part of this movie, in that they allow her to actually be funny. Like I said before, they allow her to actually be basically Becca from Pitch Perfect. You know, they allow her to be fun, and they allow Blake to be Blake. Which again, if they dived further into that, would have been more fun. But the problem is, here's my problem with all modern day murder mysteries. Okay, murder mysteries from back in the day, like The Clue from Christopher Lloyd days, used to be there used to be this kind of idea that the last one I saw that kind of almost had that was Game Night with Jason Bateman. But other than that, I've realized like every single murder mystery, whether it's comedy, whether it's not, basically just has this idea. Knives Out is the biggest problem of this, is that they keep doing this like idea that like if they don't really tell you things and then randomly like 20 minutes to the end they're like, oh, by the way, she had a sister, and I know they say, oh well, a sister that died, she has a sister that died, but but you have the mom who you're portraying to be senile saying it. So am I supposed to take that seriously? Because you're portraying the mom to be not that well off mentally, so it's like how do I know that that's real, or if it's not just more of the like more of the screamings? How do I not know that? How do I know that that's not that? So it's just like, I don't know. It's just a lot of murder mysteries try to tell you things in like the last 20 minutes that they could have spent the entire movie telling you. Some of them are just check boxes. This is definitely a checkbox film. And by the way, we're not going to even introduce the villain until the last like 20 minutes. Here, Blake decided to play two roles because even though you already know it's Allison Janney by that point, because she kills the mom, you already know it's Allison Janney, so why couldn't it just be Allison Janney and just say she wanted the drug thing and she's a drug runner? I don't know. Something. But nope. We decided it was more important to complain and moan about this. And so basically, okay, so the movie's not that great. It did air. It's one of those sequels that did not need to come out, in that it's just so pointless of a sequel. Like, you can even feel, and that's what I think I liked about Anna Kendrick and Blake Lively's kind of snarkiness to each other. That like it kind of had this mentality like, you don't really need it. Like, you don't, like, it's not a needed sequel. So when they were kind of making fun of the idea of them being together again, if you had kept that up the entire film, that would have been more fun. Of like, yeah, we like, how like back in the day 80s sequels and stuff used to be like, we're not gonna have like back in the day 80s and 90s, there used to be this idea in sequels like Gremlins where it's like they would just go overboard because they knew, who would know that there would be a Gremlins sequel back in the day, so we're just gonna go over the top because of it. And I think this should have went more over the top than this. And I think if you had dropped the murder mystery thing and kind of just, you keep the murder mystery, but you go like overboard with it. Like, you go the most overboard you can with like, and I don't mean gore, I don't mean killing, I mean with like amount of twists. Like, make fun of like the general twists. Write a character in that's like the Sherlock Holmes, and like, or like the whoever Daniel Craig's name is in Knives Out, and he's basically just this character and he's being written this, and it's just like, so, and you make fun of how he doesn't notice things because, well, like if you kind of make yourselves almost the Deadpool of the murder mystery world, it would really work. Because if you made her like Anna Kendrick here, the Deadpool of it, it would work. Because how many people would love to see like them making fun of the murder mystery podcast genre and the murder mystery like movies in general, and how they don't really make sense, and how it's, and how isn't it weird to have like any like nobody ever sees anything, there's no such thing as cameras, you know what I mean? Like, there's, like that the camera she's holding in that picture is probably the last time this series admitted that there were cameras. It's like, So it's like, it's just, and again, when they do admit there's cameras, it's only just to be like, we don't know who that is, because again, there's apparently only one camera throughout if there is a camera, there's only one camera. No other camera shall exist in the world except this one dress barn camera. And I know, and apparently, like I just said, apparently there's either no cameras or there's only one camera. But you make fun of that. You make fun of like how did they, like, in like Clue style, how did they like move around the house without anybody noticing? How did like the butler move around and stuff? How did like the Duchess move around and stuff without people noticing? So it's not that great of a comedy. But, like, if you're, like, really into that murder mystery thing, you probably won't like it. You probably will like it. You probably will. You'll probably love it. You'll probably be drenched in every minute of it and be so impressed with every second of it and be like, oh my gosh, I can't wait to solve that. I can't wait to solve that scene and that scene and that scene. Like, there's, if you're like that, sure, you're probably going to be that way. But overall, it's not that great of a comedy because they drop that comedy real quick, give you a deep dive into the murder mystery thing. And again, there is a way to be satire when you have Blake playing two roles, talking about how much she loves herself. There is some satire in there that is begging to come out. You could have had Anna Kendrick look to the camera and like kind of wink. That's all you need to do. Just have her look into the camera and kind of wink. Like, yeah, Blake made this, or or maybe she could hold up a sign that says like executive produced by Blake Lively or something like that. That's kind of the thing. Like you do the back and forth, and it would have been more fun. I don't know. I don't think I don't think I'll watch a third one of this. Because I don't know. I might end up, if they make a third one, watching it. I don't know. This one was definitely better than the first one in a lot of parts, but it just didn't. It was so boring to me because I'm not into Knives Out. You see, that's the thing. I'm not into like the murder mystery thing that much. I've told you that in my Residence review. I just want something like I asked in the Residence review. I said that I wanted the movie to be more about like DC murder, like the murder mystery happens in the halls of Congress, and now both left and right, and like all the political like buzzing in between, and the media getting involved, and the police getting involved, and all the politicians getting involved. Like I feel like that should have been that, and just like with this, I feel like it's a filler film. It's a filler film. It's definitely like it's content. I've heard the term content be thrown around a lot. It is content. It's just like basically me talking about this is content for my channel. So it's not a great film. It doesn't work on a lot of levels, and it almost feels like even the writers kind of shrug a lot and be like, oh, it's just, here's the thing. When I'm watching a film and the most, besides Anna Kendrick, like when I'm watching a film and I'm just thinking about like, wow, it's so uninteresting. It's kind of like that poster is more interesting than the movie itself is, and that's the thing. There's some fun parts. It's just, it dives deep into the evil stepsister stuff from like Desperate Housewives style soap opera. So it just doesn't work. It just does not work. And then, and there's a reason why. Here's the thing. Because of movies that are so lackluster like this, there's a reason why women were flocking to the theaters to see Pride and Prejudice be released on the screen again. There's a reason why. Because that one was made really well, and this one just feels like it was made over a weekend in another country. And then there's a reason why men flocked recently to Revenge of the Sith recently. Because, and again, I want to bring this up because Hollywood, there's a reason why people are flocking to the old films and refusing to flock to the new films. Because the new films all feel so generic. If they're not super woke in DEI, then they're just, and Blender films, then they're just so generic. They're so generic and so boring and just have no real attitude. I mean, my gosh, I heard this story today of this girl who watched the Pride and Prejudice film and decided to make her own GBT version of Mr. Darcy. That in itself is a more interesting story. That story I heard online is more interesting than this film to me. It really is. This film is just, it has the same problem. It's better than the first one at parts, but overall it doesn't grab you anymore. It just doesn't. And if I'm getting more entertained, if people are getting more entertained, Hollywood, by what you did in the past, to the point where they'll watch re-releases of Star Wars and re-releases of Pride and Prejudice and re-releases of all these things, eventually you gotta start realizing, what are we doing now that we're not doing back then? And if people are even so into this, that they're the old stuff, that they're even making GBTs of Mr. Darcy, I'm just saying, I guarantee you there's no people that are doing that for Anna Kendrick. I guarantee you that maybe for gross reasons online, but but for like fun, lighthearted reasons, there's nobody that's going to be like, make like, what does Anna Kendrick think about dating or something? What is Anna Kendrick's character? What was it, Stephanie? I don't know. I think her name was Stephanie in it. I don't know. Just it doesn't even matter to me. Does it even matter to you? Again, I could be saying Blake's real name, but Blake's name in this, but why? It's just Blake. So overall, it's not a great film. It's clearly, again, if you dived further into the Blake Lively scandal, deeped further into the Anna Kendrick snark, and allowed yourselves to be the satire that clearly is in your bones. There's clearly a satire waiting to come out in here that could be really fun and really engaging, and it just doesn't want to be. It wants to be the filler film that doesn't make that much money. I know the last one made money. This one, there's a reason why it's on streaming and not in theaters, because they know it's not going to make that much money. So Amazon's not going to waste a couple theater releases on this. Because if they really thought this was a really great film, was really going to make a lot of money, I guarantee you they would have released this in theaters. But they didn't, so that's the thing. So overall, it's not a great film. It's not. And again, Hollywood, if people are more excited about watching Keira Knightley, Pride and Prejudice, and Revenge of the Sith, if people are more invested in watching those two films, I saw a lot more investment in that than I saw in this, and Mickey 17. So it's like, like Thunderbolts is the only thing that got an audience this week, and it's only because there's some preferred critics that are there. So that's kind of what I'm saying, is it just overall, it just doesn't work. It does not work. It just does, and that's what I'm saying, is that Hollywood, if you want people to continually flock to like the old stuff you made, by all means, do this. But if you want people to actually flock to things that you're doing now, you got to make them interesting. So that's all I'm saying. So thank you. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you later.